Good morning, and thank you for joining me. My name is Rachel Pratt. I am Vice President of Operations for BEX, and I want to show you all about the DATABEX platform. So I'll start off just kind of telling you what kind of thresholds that we have in place in order for information to get into the database. So we track only Arizona construction projects, and we're looking at a construction value of $5 million or greater. So any construction project within the state of Arizona that has a valuation of about $5 million or greater, we will consider that something that has to go into the database. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. And right now we do have a promo going on that if you refer someone to the DATABEX platform and they subscribe for a year, that you get you win a dinner at Mastro's, which is a $350 wine dinner. And that sounds amazing. So that's exciting. All right. This is our dashboard for DATABEX. And within this, we have just shortcuts to certain areas, but we also have a standing DATABEX webinar right here and a keyword search here. We also have the main navigation up here for all the search functions that we have for all kinds of projects. You can search companies, contacts, and solicitations. And within the project search, you can search by project details, a keyword search, which is what we saw on the dashboard, by location, which is our map search, by activity, so what's been happening inside of the database, new projects and updated projects, as well as by timeline, which is a new one that I'll show you. So on the other functions of the main navigation here, we also have a special reports if you want some kind of custom report. There's also managerial permissions that you can add and remove licenses from your account. A whole site for help and knowledge base, any kind of questions you have, there's answers in there. Also a place to contact myself or sales, and then all of your account information inside of the database. So back on over to the side, we have the project ID search. This is the ID that we assign to all the projects. It's a super simple 4-digit number usually that has just you type in the 4-digit number, 1, 2, 3, 5, you search, and it goes straight to that project profile. And that way you can bypass all of the searches, all of the forms, the results, and everything straight to the project. So if you know that number, excellent, you should use it. We also have all of our saved searches, so you can save searches in this platform, and you can also follow projects in this platform. So if you did want to make sure to get all the updates happening on the project, you just follow it and you will get those email notifications. You can also express interest on a project. What this means is that you can tell everyone else in the database that you're interested in providing services on this particular project. And it leaves your contact information there as well. So you can kind of communicate via the project to other database users. And then all the notes that you leave in the project. So you can leave notes in here and it'll be right there when you open up that project profile, and you never have to, forget where you left them. They're in the project. And then down here are just main search navigation buttons. So projects, companies, contacts, solicitations, and map. This will take you to the project search by details. And then down here we have recently viewed projects. So these will show you all the projects you viewed recently. And below that, the recently added projects. So you can always keep up to date with what we're putting into the database. All right, so let me dive into one of the searches. The most popular one that we do is kind of the search by details. It's kind of the go-to. So I search by details. And now we have a ton of criteria that we can filter out. This is a save search option. You have 3 places that you can save a search inside the database. One of them is on the project search by details, which is this one. You saw that keyword search on the dashboard. And then there's one other place, which is our solicitation search. So in order to save a search, you just check this box, give it a name, and then you put in the actual criteria you want to save. So if you're looking for projects by certain owners, you can just type in the owner and then search, and then it saves it to your account. Or you can do something really specific and say, I want to find projects that have the design contract available in the private sector of, let's say, the market of industrial, and then do a search on that. Every time that search brings a hit in the morning, like it's run every morning. Let me put it that way. These searches are run every morning. Any hits that come back that are new to the database or recently updated will be hit and listed inside of that email for you. So you get a daily feed of projects that are super relevant to you and what you're looking for. So let me just go through all of the stuff that's in here. Now we do have the ability to search certain areas, so city, state, zip code. You can also select a filter on the tribal, or federal, or public. Maybe you're just looking for tribal work. And then you do have the ability to search for the contract available. Now this works in a couple different ways. One of them is that if you're a design firm, you're going to want to look for projects that have that contract available. Easy, right? So contract available. Construction firm, contract available. If you are a subcontractor and you need to get in touch with the general contractors, you need to make sure that all the projects that you're looking for have that not available. You need that construction contract already in place so that you can contact the general contractor. Or if you need to talk to the design firm, if you're some kind of manufacturer's rep, you need to make sure that that design firm has already been selected. And this is one way that you can do that. Now, I'm going to come back here. There's also ways to search by project method of delivery. So if you're looking for maybe a specific project and you know it's a P3 or you know it's a CMAR, that's one way to filter it down. Now, the two most popular and I think the most efficient ways to search within the database are for project status and then market. Market's going to be really applicable to you depending on what you do. So status is going to tell you whether or not it's in the right timing of the project, right? You need to make sure that the project's in design, or you need to make sure that the project's in pre-con, or how about in planning, or even under construction. Anytime you find any of these projects that fit that criteria, you can save it, get those notifications, and then whenever anything changes in the project, you get an email saying, hey, this changed on the project, and you can go straight to the email. So this actually works in another way too, where if you select that maybe you are a subcontractor, but you need to get in right away, right? You need to get right away with that general contractor as soon as they're selected, not while it's under construction. So you can say that maybe you want the construction contract not available, but the project status is in design. And then you go and search. You find the projects that you are wanting to bid on. And then what you can do is get those notifications as soon as those general contractors are selected. And then you can go in and contact the general contractor. So there's lots of different ways to use this form to meet your needs. So I'm going to do a search just so that I can show you what we're going to get and how we're going to show you the rest of the database. So let's look for projects in, let's do, you know what, multifamily is booming right now. So let's do multifamily, and I'm going to get rid of the project status. Actually, let's leave it in design. I'm going to put this one to any. So now I'm looking for projects that are in design for multifamily that maybe have an estimated value. So now I can search by estimated value. I can put in a range, a high or a low. This also works for square footage. So let's say I want big multifamily projects. I'm looking for multifamily projects that are about 30 million or more. Okay, so now I can search. If I saved it, it's now saved to my account, and I get those email notifications, and I get all the results. So there's 107 that have that exact criteria, which is great. So let's go ahead and look at what we got here. This is a table. It's called a results page, right? You get results from the form. Anywhere you see a table inside of the database, you can download the data. Now you can download it as a CSV, which gives you more information than what's on the table, really good information that you will really appreciate. And here, I want to open it up for you. So we have project ID. Remember I mentioned that project ID earlier? We also have the project name, the owner, the valuation, the city, the location, zip, the status, the market, and the square footage. In addition, we have the design firm and the prime contractor when they're selected. We'll also tell you whether or not you're following the project and when it was last updated in our database. So there's a lot of good information in there that you can import into some kind of project management system or just great information in general. So that's one of the things that you get with the download. Now the PDF is the same information, but in a printable format. So let's go ahead and look at what we got here. So we have project ID, that's that 4-digit number I mentioned, the project name, the owner, the status, and the city. Now these are all sortable. So I can say, well, I want to find all the projects that are, let's see, there it goes. It was slow. In design, so I have the design ones. Here's design plan review. We have also Gilbert. Oh, it finally caught up to all my clicks. So then here's status of design, as I said. Okay, here's Ativo Senior Living of Sundance. Ativo Senior Living. That one's in Buckeye. Now you'll notice this little eyeball right here. This little eyeball is indicating whether or not you're already following the project. So if you were, then it would show as purple. Now I don't have any in this list here to show you, but I can eventually when one pops up. But let's open one of these up just to see, and then we can go through a project profile. So let's open up that senior living, and let's see. Let's do Ora Flagstaff and also Gilbert. Okay, now, wonderful. We have a beautiful rendering. When we get a rendering for the project, we definitely will put it up. This is our visual cue, right? We're looking at it, we remember it. A lot of us are visual learners, so we can look at this and say, okay, I remember what that project is. And then we have a visual for the timeline. So now we're looking at the time. Here's this little today indicator. It's telling me that we are right in between design and construction. So we know that we went to planning and on April 1st, and it was in design as estimated by our research team. So they go in and they do all their research and they find all these things and they make their emails and phone calls. And then based on all those facts that they find, if they do not get a confirmed date for their design and construction, they will estimate, okay, well, I know this is supposed to happen in this time, so design should be happening this time, construction this time. And then we'll confirm it and remove that estimated underneath, so you know that it has been confirmed. We always separate it between planning, design, and construction. It's super easy to read and it's very helpful. So we know that it's about in the design phase. Okay, we've estimated that it's in design, but we haven't quite hit construction. And it was last checked on 6/18 of 2021. So we know we've been looking into the project. We had an update on this project on April 15th. So the difference between last checked on and last updated on is this is when our researchers went in and looked at something. The last update is when they went in and made changes or uploaded something. So we tell you what's going on here in the status notes. So per Ed Zebart with Link Senior Development on 4/15, Bradley Stam is the GC and Joe Fleming is the contact. Construction is expected to start sometime between July and September, so they don't even know. They're kind of the iffy, right? And they're still tweaking the design. So all of this matches up with exactly what we have posted on the timeline in the status and in the status notes. They're all working together, right? If you haven't found it already, this is the name of the project. Now you can print these projects out as a PDF, and it's a nice formatted printer-friendly version of the project, and it includes a ton of information. It includes the rendering, it includes all the status notes, all the names, the owners, the design firms, the contacts, the map, etc. And I will go through it as soon as we get through the project profile, because I don't want to spoil everything that's in the profile before we get to that, okay? So following the project, remember we've talked about this a couple of times. I just click the button. Now it's added to my account and I will get an email anytime this project is updated. Awesome. I can also unfollow the project just by clicking it again. So when it turns yellow, that means I know I'm following it. Now you can also submit an update or a question. So if you have information about this project, like, oh, that GC is no longer on the project, or that PM, he got fired, I don't know, whatever the case might be. Or you have a question like, can you find out the exact date or something? If you have a question, you can submit that question and we'll put that at a top priority for our researchers to go and look into. Here's the project ID that I keep talking about, 2744. And below that is on the job. Who's on the job? We will always give you the owner, the architect, and the general contractor. Those are the three contacts you will always get on project. So we have them listed here. And then here's the project details. We have the method of delivery, which was a direct select, the square footage, the estimated value, the sector, the address, market, and a brief project description. So there's a little bit of information here, but then we dump a bunch more in the detailed description and notes. If there's any kind of ancillary information that we want you to know, like this was formerly known as Sundance Senior Living, it'll be in the notes. Underneath all of that, we have divisions. So it just goes to that first level, so you can kind of get an idea of where you fall into that as a subcontractor or a manufacturer's rep. And then we have the contacts. So here's the gold, right? Everybody loves the contacts. We have the prime contractor and design firm clearly stamped, so it's easy to find. We also have the developer, the civil engineer, and another developer here. So we have the names of the companies, the names of the people on the project. This is the actual project manager. This is the VP of Construction Services. These are the people that you actually need to talk to on these projects. It's not just the company name. Now you can find out a lot of information within the contacts. You can go into, say, I don't know, Bradbury Stam Construction. I don't know what they do. Are they new in town? Are they, you know, what do they do? I can click on their name and then it opens up a company profile. This company profile is going to have everything that our research team has collected on this company. So we have, of course, the logo, the company type, the sectors they work in, their URL, their website, and all the markets that they work in, which looks like pretty much everything. The contacts that we have for them, so we only have one contact for them. It's the Vice President of Pre-Construction Services and the projects that they're on. So we only have one project in here that they're on, which makes sense because I've never heard of them before. So they must be new in town or they are just coming into the market. So now I look at the offices. Okay, they're out of Albuquerque. So they're not local. That's why I couldn't recognize them. So they don't have anything else going on in Arizona that fit our criteria of $5 million or higher. But I can get in touch with them to see if they're looking at other things. So you have an office phone number and you have a contact here. Now, when there's a local firm, you can find, and I don't know if any of these people are local. Nope, none of these guys are local. You'll find a lot more projects listed for them. All right, underneath the contacts is the map. Now the map is interactive Google plugin. It's easy to, you know, zoom in, zoom out, so you know where you are. And then we have all the files for the projects. So here's what we put in the files. Articles that were written in the Aspects magazine. They're always pulled from that magazine and then uploaded into the database into the file section for the project. Any municipal documents that we get. So we're looking at planning and zoning documents, we're looking at permits, we're looking at agenda items, anything that's going through city council legislation, whatever it is, that's where those files go. We also get the plans and specs for the projects. Obviously, they're not ready on this one. They're still doing design. And then renderings. So we will give you what we have for renderings, right? So we know that they came up with some kind of submittal to the planning and zoning or for design review, and this is what they got. So we have an idea of what those renderings look like. Now you can view or download them. And I'm going to come back up to the top because we're going to go down the right side this time. Remember we talked about that status note, That's like the latest news on the project. You have a history as well. If you're looking for what else has happened or when something happened, you can find out. All righty, links. Now here we have a link to the project site. Now this is probably set up by the owner. Most of the time it's the owner that sets up a site for the project, and this is what that would look like. So we can go in and check out what the owner has presented on this project. Any solicitations that might be attached to this, that includes sub-bid requests or general contractors or design firms. Those are all going to be solicited at some point, and they go through the solicitations. As long as they're not select list or direct select, something like that, where they're not actually public solicitations that we can access, then they wouldn't be here. But we do get lots of sub-bid requests from general contractors. Now, earlier on the dashboard, we had talked about looking at notes for the project. This is where you would leave them. Now, the cool thing about this is that you can leave a private note and it'll stay here. This will stay, and I can save it. Now, every time I open up this project profile, this will be here, and I will always have that as a record. Now, another cool thing is I can come in and get my notes. I want to share this note. Now, what this does is it sends an email to my team members that are on my account with the note and the project. So I can communicate to my team members through the app, which is a really cool feature. So underneath the note section is the associated projects. Now, the associated projects is just a way for us to link the projects together. So it could be a way for us to link projects within a master plan, or it could be multi-phased, like larger campuses of some kind. Whatever it is, that's our way of linking them together. And then here's the interested parties. So earlier I mentioned this is our way to communicate with other database subscribers that you're interested in providing services on this project. So I know that Justin Urbanski, with ECD Systems, wants to provide fire and security and etc. on this project. Same with Graybar and ABCom. These are people that really want to express their interest on the project. Now, if I was someone that could connect with them in some way to get on this project, I can just click on their name and it opens up that contact. And then I have all the details for him. I have his mobile, his phone, his LinkedIn, the address, his email. So now anywhere I want to contact him, I can. All right, let's get out of this. So that kind of sums up the project profile. And I want to show you what the printout looks like for that. Now that we know all the content on the project profile, I can show you what we've put into the printout, which is pretty much everything. So here's those project fundamentals: the owner, the project ID, the address, the valuation, the project description, more details, and then we have the timeline. So it's in a table format. And then the status with status notes and all those previous status notes. Here's the contacts, the map, and the divisions and solicitations. So there's a ton of good information in this printout. Great way to just bring it into a meeting, talk about whether you want to pursue it, etc. Okay. So that completes like the project profile, right? Here's another one. It's got all the same information. This one's got multiple pages of files and another one. So you can see these I just picked these at random because I have a lot of faith in my team that they do an amazing job. Here's one with plans and specs for you as well. And I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this and we will return to the dashboard. So that was a project search by details and the project profile. Now what we're going to do is search by project location. This is our map search. Now what this is it's a Google Maps interface with all of the active projects within Arizona that have pins dropped into that map. So as soon as it loads, it takes a second to load. I can also pan the map here. So if I want to make sure that I am in Tempe or Mesa, or I want to go to Flagstaff or something like that, I just need to write Flagstaff in there. So it's just panning the map. I can filter by market sector as well. So if I just want to make sure I get all of the projects in for public works, for example, I can search and then it'll come in and drop all those pins for the public works. So here's all the public works projects. Now, a fun one I like to do is showing you where all the data centers are, because that's a huge popular thing right now. And you can see where they are. They're very kind of in specific places, right? We've got the east side and we've got the west side, and then there's a few in Scottsdale, Tempe, Phoenix area. We've even got one up in North Phoenix, but that's about it. One hanging out over here. So you can see where the data centers are. All right, then what you can do inside of these, and let me just change the search real quick. You'll notice that there's a blue marker here and there. Now that's not a glitch or anything. That means that you're following the project. So all these blue markers, are you done? There we go. All the blue markers are showing me that I'm following these projects. So I can click on this one. And so that's Park Avenue mixed use development at the Boulevard. Wonderful. Okay. So it's going to tell me what all these little projects are. And the nice thing about it is it's going to give me a pretty good amount of information, like the valuation and the status and the location and the name of the project. Now I can open up these project profiles by clicking on full details. It's going to open the project profile. Wonderful. Another thing I can do is add it to a list. Now what this enables me to do is create a custom list below my map. Now what I can do is add all the projects I want to this particular list. And then I can download it as a CSV or a PDF. So if I wanted to, I could do the CSV, and then I could say I just want these 3 projects and I want to download that information and then upload it into my project management system. Voila, wonderful. Or I can print it out into a PDF format. That works too. You can get to the project profile from the details button here. Oh, here's the PDF of the 3 projects that were in my customized list. And then that kind of sums up the map and location search. I'm going to go by activity. Now, activity is just going to give me the recently added projects listed and the recently updated projects as well. So back to project search by timeline. Now this is a new one. This one's really cool. It's kind of in beta right now. So what this enables us to do is to find projects that either start or end in a certain stage. So let's say I want to find all the projects that finish construction during a certain period of time. So I want to make sure that the stage not starts but ends. So I want to go to the month. Let's say we want to find all the projects that end between January of 2021 to September of 2021. I can search this, and now it's going to search the timelines and find all of the projects that are supposed to stop or end construction during that period of time. 266 projects. How cool is that? Now I can go to the project profiles by just clicking on the button here, of course, and then we have the download option too. And of course you can see which ones we're following and which ones are not, which is crazy because I don't see any of them that I'm following. And I can't show you what that looks like. It's just purple, a biggie. Okay, so that is the timeline search. Now let's search companies. The really cool thing about this is it's not like find one company. I can find all the architects that are in Arizona that work on education. Could be higher ed, K-12, or I could just search for Skanska, or I could search for Kitchell. whatever the case might be. You can get a list or a single. So it's that broad versus narrow search, right? So let's do that. So now I found all of the architects in Arizona that do education, 105. Pretty cool. These are all great ways to get better contacts, use that network, right? We can go to the details, and the details are going to give you the company profile. So here's that company profile. Here's the markets they work in and all the services, their logo, their office in Tempe. Now, let me be specific about what we would include in a company profile. We only include companies that are working on Arizona projects. And we're only going to include the contacts that are working on projects or that are assigned to projects. There is one other reason you would be in the database is that you were either a database user or you are a database user. So there's a few things that you want to keep in mind when looking at contacts. You're like, well, I don't see so-and-so and so-and-so. Well, it's because they're probably not assigned to a project. Now, we do have lots of architects in here for ADM Group, right? Now, here's the really cool thing. If I click on Ben Barcone and click on his details, I'm going to get all the projects that he's actually assigned to. So these are the ones that he's working on. He's heavily involved in all of these. So I can click on any of these and find out what's going on with them. So you can see what they've been working on, what they are working on, etc. If you go back to the company details, you can see which ones are currently active. So these are all currently active right now. We have 4 under construction, 1 on hold. We have a master plan and 3 in design. We also have a list of all the completed projects they have, and there's 14 of them in here. Now, this database is fairly young. We've only been working and gathering information since 2016. So there's only about a 5-year history in our database. You can click on the owners to find out what other projects they're going on to their own company profile. For example, Arizona State University, you know, it's going to have a ton of projects, right? There's lots of information going on here, lots of contacts, lots of projects, lots of completed projects. So there's a lot of history here and current activity. Okay, I am going to hop out of the company profile and we are going to keep going. Let's go to contacts. Now, this is a little tip for you. This is a great way to fill up your CRM system, because what we do here is, let's say we are looking for all of the structural engineers in our system. I can search, and then what it does is it goes through all of the structural engineer companies and pulls the contacts from them and puts them into this list. So now we have 157 structural engineer contacts. And we can see principal structural engineer. We have all these titles so we can see exactly who we're dealing with. So vice president of business development might not be someone that you want to, you know, work with or get in touch with. If he's not, then you don't have to, you know, you can remove him, but you can download this information as a CSV, put it into your CRM system, and you get the company name, the contact name, the principal, office phone, direct phone, LinkedIn, cell phone, and email. So there's a lot of good information in that download that you can actually just upload into your own CRM system. All right, let me go ahead and keep going here. So we're going to go to solicitations next. So here's the solicitation search. This is a save search option. Just click on the checkbox, give it a name, and then it's saved to your account. Anytime you save a search, you will get a daily digest of all of those search results in one email for projects that are new to the database or updated, including solicitations. So if I wanted to save the search anytime and IFB came up for, let's say, roadway and streets, I can save this search, give it a name like road solicitations. And then we have our save search. I'm going to search this one. And now it's added to my account. So anytime any of those search criteria are hit for the solicitations, I will get a result in my daily digest. So here we have 6 open project solicitations. We can click on one of these to get more information. Go to the details. It'll open up the solicitation profile or the solicitation information. Now you can see right away we have a timeline at the top. It tells us the today indicator and that this bid was just advertised a week ago. We also have a pre-submittal date and an IFB due date. Construction is supposed to be starting at the end of the year. Here's the name of the project, the type of solicitation and what they're soliciting for, construction services. You will always get a contact for the solicitation section. We give view details and it'll give you more information if there's any phone numbers. And you can also go to the project from here or follow the project from here. Now I'm following the project. So we have the solicitation details listed here. We have the reference number, the due date and time, the requested information, as well as the information about the pre-submittal conference, whether it's mandatory or not, where it is, when it is, and there's also a DBE goal as well, 4.40%. This one has a link to the plan holders list and more information about that site visit. If we pass firm submitting, we'll get information on that when the solicitation closes. But for now, we have the solicitation files, which will be all the plans and specs, the bidding documents you can view and download from here. And you also see any other related solicitations. So for example, if there was a design RFQ that came out for this project as well, it would be listed here. So let me show you what this looks like. After the bid closes, we will get the firms that submit on the project and list them here with a little awarded sign next to the one that had the award. Let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to go back to my search. I'm going to search for closed and awarded. And I will go to the highways, roads, and streets market, and we want IFB. So now we're search. So these are all closed and there should be results as well as the firms that have been awarded. So I'm just going to click on one randomly and I'm going to scroll down and here we have the firm submitting. So on this particular pavement rehabilitation on SR 260, we have Fan Contracting, F&F, and Sunland Asphalt that's submitted on the project. And you can see here that Sunland Asphalt was awarded the project. Here's another related solicitation to this one. This was a sub-bid request for the from F&F Construction. So if we click on the sub-bid, you can see we have the sub-bid information for that request and all the plans and specs. So that's solicitations. And then we've gone through all of our search functions, right? The only thing we didn't do is the keyword, but it's pretty simple. You just type in, maybe we want DBE, right? We'll search DBE, find all the projects that have DBE in them. And now we have a bunch of projects, mostly ADOT. We can sort by status and then see which ones are applicable for us. Now I'm going to keep going through the menu up here. Now we talked about reports. So if there's information in here, but you can't quite extract the information that you need, maybe you need to do some kind of analytics or market research, we can do custom reports for you that you have access to at any time. All you have to do is let us know what you'd like. We'd give you a fee if there is a fee associated to that, and you will have access to it whenever you need. We also have managers. So I'm a manager of my team's account. And what that means is that I can manage my users within my team. So these are all of my team members. This is a lot. It's my database. So of course I'm going to have all of my team in here. But you might have 3 or 6, maybe 12. You can see who has access. You can see who has managerial permissions, and you can edit information within here. So let's say I actually need to remove access for Amanda. I can go in and edit. I can disable her access and save. So now I know that she doesn't have a license assigned to her. Now, if I want to, I can add a new person to my account, add their information, save it, and then I can assign it to them. And by doing that, it'll show up just like this. I can press on edit, and then I can say enable access. And then I will send them an email. The email is for them to set up a password. If you don't send them an email, they won't know how to access the site because there's no login information saved in the system. All right. Now you can also look at the access log and find out who's actually been in the database. So I can see all of my team are active in here. They're logging in, they're using the service just like they're supposed to. Great. Down here you will see the account information. This is the name of the account, how many licenses we've purchased, and then who our actual managers assigned to the account. Now, my company is going to be your company profile within the DATABEX. I can see my information here. If there's any edits that you would like to make, request an update. Super easy. Maybe one of your company contacts is no longer with the company. Great, let us know, update. You can also let us know if any information in here is incorrect, or you want to add something, or you want to make it more robust. Maybe you want to tell us about all the services that you provide. That's totally fine. We'll add it in. Now, that's kind of what we got on the manager side. As far as the help site, we'll go through and let you know all of the information within the database. If you have a question about master projects, for example, just type it into the search. So now I have all of these articles that fit that criteria that talk about master projects. So this is the master project PDF. It's just a notice that we've updated something in there. But this one, the master projects, will tell you all about the master projects, right? So it tells you how they're set up, what to expect, how the child projects are shown inside of the DATABEX. It's a knowledge base, right? It's all the information within the database that you have questions about. Now, keep going. We have the contact us. This is my headshot, Rebecca's. If you have any questions, this is my cell phone. You guys can call me or you can email me. I'm easy to get a hold of. And then all of our account information. So I click on my account. And of course, I have my profile information. If I need to change anything about my name or my title, LinkedIn, we heavily use LinkedIn. It is a business to business type of atmosphere inside of LinkedIn. So I think it's important that you include your LinkedIn information because your information will stay in here even after you've left the company. When you're assigned to a project, people can click on your LinkedIn, find out where you've gone, and keep in touch with you that way. So this is kind of a way to keep in touch with people that are moving around a lot. Here's your account information, the billing manager. We also have your account preferences over here. So if you want that daily digest, you got to make sure it's enabled. By default, it should be. If daily is too much, and I don't think I actually explained what daily digest is. So the daily digest is that feed of projects that you get every day when you save a search. So you can have one save search, you can have 100 save searches. Either way, it's going to run every morning at 5 a.m. and then send you an email of all the results. So if daily is too much, you can also do weekly. Just make sure to save it. Otherwise, it'll just go back to the way it was. You want to share notes or you don't want to share notes, you can obviously opt in or opt out of that. And then notifications is just a way for me to communicate to you about bugs or maintenance or any new features. It's not any type of marketing notifications. If you want your emails that you get notifications like your project updates or your shared notes, things like that, to go to a different email than the one that's assigned to your account, you can actually just put one in here. So maybe you want all of those emails to go to marketing@company.com instead of your personal work email. You can also find out all the users in your company. This is a kind of similar to what we saw on the manager side, whether or not they have manager permissions or app access. You can also, this is where you change your password if you need to as well. So that's my account. Now, Everything else in the account is all of those things that you've saved to your account, your project notes, your followed projects, your saved searches, etc. Project notes and company notes, the pages look identical. It's just that one will link to the projects and the other one will link to companies. So on this one, we have all of the notes that we've left. So here's that one I left earlier. This will stay. That's a private note. There it is, private. It tells me if it's private. It tells me if it's shared. I can delete them from this list. If I delete them from here, it won't delete them from the project. Then you just have to go into the project to delete it. But this will keep track of that information. The company notes is identical, just with companies. And then we have following. So following projects is a way for us to keep track of all those projects we're following. And in addition, there's a little perk inside of this one as well. If you go in and edit it, you can add a tag. For example, I'm going to say Bob, and I want to check back on this. Maybe you want to put in a date, or you want to assign it to a sales representative that you're managing. You can go in and say, okay, I know Bob's got this particular broad project, so I'm not going to need to get notifications about it because I know Bob's got it. And I need to check back on Bob on, let's say, 9/17/21. I can update that. Now, on 9/17/21, I can come in here, search for 9/17/21. And then all those projects that have that date on it will pop up. So it's a good way for us to create almost like a management system, a CRM system, or I know, okay, this person needs to talk to this person, or whatever system that you come up with. It's a tagging system. So you can come up with any kind of system that works best for you. All right, I'm going to keep going here. Interested. So this is just the projects that you've expressed interest on, and you can go to the project profile from here, or you can remove your interest on the project from here. So let's say I don't want to be listed on that project anymore. I can remove it. And then save searches. So the save searches are what trigger your daily digest. The daily digest is that weekly or daily email notification with all the results of your saved searches. So I went in here and I created a saved search when we started this webinar. I called it name. You know, that's such a horrible name. I'm never going to remember what the criteria was. I can go in and edit it and say, oh yeah, that was designed for multifamily. I'm going to change that name to multifamily in design. And I'm going to add in a status of design plan review. I can edit the criteria. Perfect. Save it. Now, let's say I wasn't quite getting the projects results that I wanted. I can go back in and edit any of these saved searches anytime. Alrighty, so now I have all of my saved searches. If I want to, I can delete these saved searches by clicking on this one and pressing delete. So they're no longer going to be sending me email notifications on my daily digest. Wonderful. So we've gone through everything inside of the account and all of the search options, the help manager, the reports, and solicitations. And I think we have covered it all. If you have any questions, you can reach me at rpratt@azbex.com, or you can call me at 480-227-2620. Thanks for joining me this morning.